Did you know Trump is heading to the G7 with Iran, Ukraine, India trade, and energy security on the agenda? President Trump is heading into next week's G7 summit in France with a packed agenda that includes Iran diplomacy, Ukraine, artificial intelligence, energy security, and a closely watched trade discussion with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. U.S. officials say Trump and Modi are expected to discuss trade, but a finalized U.S.-India deal is not expected at the summit. The G7 summit is scheduled for June 15 through June 17 in Evian-les-Bains, France, and the timing could not be more consequential. Trump arrives with multiple foreign policy challenges converging at the same time. The Iran conflict continues to shape energy markets and maritime security. Ukraine remains a central issue for Europe and NATO. Trade talks with India are progressing, but not yet ready for a final agreement. And artificial intelligence is increasingly being treated as an economic and national security priority. This is not a routine summit. It is a pressure test for Trump's second-term global strategy. On India, U.S. officials say Trump and Modi will discuss trade relations, but no breakthrough deal is expected during the G7 itself. That matters because both sides have strong incentives to reach an agreement, but also significant unresolved issues. India wants better tariff treatment. The U.S. wants stronger market access and alignment on strategic energy policy. India's trade minister has expressed optimism that the first phase of a deal could be reached by mid-July, but U.S. officials are signaling that the summit itself is more about progress than closure. In plain language, Trump is likely going to the G7 with a message. America is ready to negotiate, but not ready to give away leverage. Energy security will be one of the most important behind-the-scenes themes. Reporting indicates that Trump and Modi are also expected to discuss Indian interest in Venezuelan oil, especially as instability around Iran-related shipping continues to complicate global supply. That creates a strategic triangle: Iran, India, and Venezuela. If Iranian oil remains constrained and shipping lanes remain risky, countries like India will look for alternative supply. If Venezuela becomes part of that solution, U.S. policy toward Latin America and energy markets becomes even more connected to Middle East strategy. Ukraine is another major issue. According to reporting ahead of the summit, the White House says Ukraine will be high on Trump's G7 agenda. European leaders are expected to press for clarity on U.S. support, especially as questions continue around burden sharing, sanctions, and long-term military assistance. Trump's approach to Ukraine has often focused on negotiation, accountability, and European responsibility. At the G7, that posture may collide with European leaders who want strong and consistent U.S. backing. The key question is whether Trump can balance a push for negotiations with reassurance to allies who fear Russian aggression. That is the diplomatic challenge. Trump wants leverage, Europe wants certainty, and Ukraine wants sustained support. The Iran conflict may overshadow all of it. U.S. officials say Middle East diplomacy and maritime security are central to Trump's summit agenda. As recent drone and shipping incidents show, the conflict is not contained to one battlefield. It touches global oil prices, allied naval operations, and commercial shipping confidence. Trump will likely use the summit to push allies toward a shared position on freedom of navigation, sanctions enforcement, and any emerging peace framework, but allies may also ask for restraint and a clearer end state. Artificial intelligence is also expected to be part of the G7 conversation. Governments are increasingly treating AI as a strategic technology that affects defense, productivity, data security, and global competitiveness. Trump's administration has generally favored a pro-innovation approach while also emphasizing national security testing and U.S. leadership. The G7 is where economic policy, security policy, and technology policy all collide. What should viewers watch next? Bottom line, Trump arrives at the G7 with more than one negotiation on the table. Trade, war, oil, Ukraine, and AI are all connected. The summit may not deliver a final deal, but it could shape the next stage of Trump's global agenda.